welcome back. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to the Meet the Members of Business Connects interview series. I'm Jen Wilner, founder of Business Connects, and joining me today is Jim Thompson. Jim, how you doing?
I'm great, Jen. Thanks for having me.
So excited to finally get you on this, and so that everybody can learn about your business. I feel like we've known each other for so long, but what you're doing now is new. Well, is new-ish, right?
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
in your story and in your business and all that. So let's just jump in and tell us a little bit about you personally. Well, them, because I feel like I know you so well. A little bit about you personally, not the business. We'll get into that later.
Sure. Well, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me on, Jen. It's a treat to be able to sit with you and talk about these things, but I really appreciate that. Look, as far as me personally, uh, look, I'm a father of three. Uh, Will, Abby, and Jack. They are grown adult children, thriving and doing their things. Married to Jen, 32 years as of yesterday, anniversary. So I remembered, so that's good. Um, and yeah, look, the things I enjoy doing, I love hiking. I love meeting and talking to people. I've started pickleball. I love science fiction. I love reading science fiction and history. And yeah, I'm kind of a geek, right? I love comic books too. So I'm definitely a geek. So that's what you need to know about me.
And very techy.
I'm tech-ish. Here's what I would say, Jen. I'm curious.
Okay.
I'm curious. So I don't know great detail about anything really from a technological perspective, but I know enough to get in trouble,
Okay.
and that's my objective.
Good stuff. Well, when I have struggled with some tech things, you've been the go-to guy. And like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So it's always good to have somebody who's the curiosity and not being feeling inhibited by learning new things is so important, right? There's
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of an optimizer, so I always
mm,
think like there's the ideal way to do this. I'm not sure what it is. And I think that's probably what AI has done more for me is because now I can ask ridiculous questions like how many times should you crack an egg before it splits open? Stupid things that no one else would want to know. And I'm like, I wonder what's the ideal number that it should open? Am I doing it right?
mm,
So I love to figure out what is the ideal way to do something.
that's fantastic. I feel like I'm using that a little bit with gardening.
Yeah.
Just a little bit asking crazy questions
That you would
into
be embarrassed to
obvious,
ask a human.
yeah, that I wouldn't even think to ask a human. I'm like, okay, well, let me just search this and see what it comes up about. And okay, now I can have that conversation with the human who I
Yeah,
think is smarter than me. And they say, did you look it up? Well, I want your opinion. So I think, but we need to do that as humans. We need to ask each
absolutely.
other, keep the conversations more of this, less of this.
Yeah, for sure. For
So,
sure.
Jim, what exactly do you do? Your business is Bright Trail Customer Development, but what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, um, essentially what I consider myself is to be the the biographer or the storyteller for founders, right? For business owners and uh, people who lead their own company organization. So what I bring to the table is a couple decades of journalist experience, both as a journalist and then running media teams for a variety of organizations. But I love storytelling. It's really the thing that I'm passionate about. It's the subject of a podcast I created 3 or 4 years ago. It's really what I love to do. So my goal is to help business owners explain who they are and why they matter in a way that their prospective clients can begin to trust them.
Mm,
Because the one thing I feel very strongly about is that for you to succeed today, you have to be able to authentically build trust. And if you're good at that, you'll have the opportunity to have conversations that lead to business relationships. If you're not good at building trust, you're fighting an uphill battle. Um, so that's really what I do is I try to help founders tell their story in a way that explains why they're valuable and why you should trust them, which
mhm,
opens the door to new
sure.
business.
And that's as a human audibly having that conversation with somebody, and that you and I can communicate, and I can explain to you about business connects, and I can talk to you about if I didn't know you, um as opposed to, well, not as opposed to, but also like as a writer, when somebody's writing like websites, if you're writing on your website, there's, back in the day we did this, some people did this thing called keyword stuffing, and you would just put all these words in there, and they're not necessarily trustworthy. That's because it's there online doesn't mean we can't believe all of it. And now we were having that little AI conversation before about, there's all this kind of stuff that we can look up, but we need to talk to human beings who have life experiences and have done the things. So you've done the things, you've helped people build their businesses and have helped people tell their story, and can take them from that idea, that life experience, to that idea to, okay, Jim, help me get all my marbles out of my mouth. How do I convey this to somebody where it makes sense? And I think you've said this to me, and it's about them. It's not about me.
Yeah,
About them, meaning the other person. Like,
right.
what am I doing? A very wise woman, I'm going to name drop here, people. A very wise woman, Bonnie Low Kramen, taught me many, many years ago. Remember in your marketing, what is it about them? What are you doing for them? How are you solving somebody's pain? Not about, oh, me, but what are you doing for them? So we all get to that point in our when we're starting our businesses where, kind of like, you get out of college or education or whatever that looks like, and how many times you see people who are going to get a job, not entrepreneurs, but are going to get a job, and they say, what kind of experience do you have? Well, where do you get the experience, right? So we have to, if you're starting your business and you've never started a business before, and this is your first time, we have to all go through those things to start the business some way. And this is where we need our mentors and people who, like you, who can teach us how to tell the story. I think hours and thousands of marketing dollars that I wasted on businesses trying to tell something and may not have gotten it right, but now we have Jim. Now we have Jim.
Well, I think the opportunity is to not market, right? And the I think when you get into a position where, look, I just want to have a conversation with you and I want to explain to you a little bit about what I get excited about, and you might find that valuable. You might not. Either one of those is okay. But as soon as I shift into a list of features and benefits, you're like, oh my God, I'm being
Yeah,
pitched.
snooze.
All right, I'm being marketed to, I'm out. And because we get that all day. But like your point around, um, you know, text base, right? So 5, 10 years ago, it was like create a blog, become an expert, and I think that stuff is still really important. It's just you have to be equipped to create the kind of message and content that resonates with search, with
Mm-hmm.
the AI crawlers, things that are automatically scanning uh, the internet for information. So you got to have that 10, that 2,000 word feature out there, but the thought that your customer or prospective customer is going to read that 2,000 word feature is pretty slim. So you need that for the, for the search aspect of it, but there needs to be another piece of it where you're talking to the human being. And ideally, if you can meet them first face to face and have a cup of coffee, that's the ideal. Way better
Mm,
than any other option you have. If you can't do that, then you need a way to communicate who you are in an honest, authentic way that says, okay, I know you've got 27 blogs here that explain why you're an expert in audience development. I'm not reading any of them,
right.
right? But give me 90 seconds of like who you are and why I should spend time listening to you or reading anything you've created. That's where you need to make a human connection. And that's where I think a lot of business owners miss that mark, is that you
Mhm.
have to put yourself forward because that's what people are buying.
Exactly. No, so we took a little bit of a break, friends, and had a little bit of a technical issue. Um, enter 2026. Thank goodness I have tech support on the other side of my office door, otherwise known as my amazing husband, John Wilner. So thank you.
We're business owners. We
um,
adapt, Jen.
and this was literally not something I would have asked Jim. I would have asked Jim, but virtually we couldn't, this would not have been solvable. So we adapt. So fast forward. So Jim, tell us a little bit about what prompted you to create Bright Trail.
Well, I think it part of it was starting to become a little more self-aware
Mm,
about what drives me, right? What excites me. And there's a book, I'm trying to remember the author, but it's called uh, Don't Keep Your Day Job,
mm, okay.
right? And I read that book, and there's a lot of things in there that explain like how, you need to really pay attention to the things that you do where it really lights you up. And there's a good way to figure that out. One is when you lose track of time. So if you're doing something and you lose track of time and you look up, it's an hour and 15 minutes later, and you're like, wait, what was I just doing that I was so involved and so uh, engrossed in it that time seems, you know, leading audience development teams for media companies, I realized that the thing that I really loved doing was working with people one on one. And it might be something simple like a manager that's going to be going on maternity leave, and we need to figure out how to cover that over a couple month period, and what does that look like, and who steps up. And I love solving those specific kind of problems. And I also acknowledge that I missed the journalist part of me, missed creating. Like any little opportunity I got to create, I loved it. But
Mm,
in management, you don't get to do a lot of creation. So I said, look, why don't I go back to my roots and kind of take what I've learned around audience development, get back into a creation mode, and start working with people one on one. And those were the things that lit me up. Those are the things that I paid attention to that I really enjoyed doing. So I'm like, is there a business there? Well, I don't know. That's why I joined Business Connects 2 years before I launched the business, because I wanted to do some research and I wanted to hear what business owners were struggling with and what questions they had and what successes they had. So it was a good opportunity for me to like get my feet wet and start listening, right? Like start
right.
listening to what's happening. Just
Uh-huh.
close your mouth and listen.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so that's what I decided, that, in August of 24, I said, look, I'm going to start this agency and we're going to tell stories the way I've always wanted to tell them. And I'm going to help founders one on one, and we're going to do amazing work, and we're going to explain to people why you should trust them, which is the number one way to grow your business. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how it happened.
Okay. So tell stories, not like when we were young and they say, stop telling stories. These are the
That's
good
right. That
stories.
meant don't lie, right?
Yeah,
So, which
right,
is
right.
important
But these
too.
these are the good stories though.
Yeah.
Um, So in a perfect world, who is your preferred customer? And I'm going to say referral partner, right? So we talk a lot about the whole Business Connects logo is so purposeful that we're connecting people who need to be connected. So we all have referral partners. And I think a lot of times, many entrepreneurs, people think, oh, you're either B2B or B2C. Yeah, but there's B2B connections that we all need. So what does that look like for you?
I would say my ideal, the person I can help the most
Hmm.
is someone who has a business organization and may have a hard time explaining exactly what they do, right? So they might be so unique or niche or special that it's I know I used to describe they said, what do you do, Jim? And I'm like, well, I help people in a lot of different ways in a lot of different scenarios. That means you don't really know exactly what you do.
Mm.
And so you need help explaining I met with one client who created $500,000 irrigation systems for medical marijuana grow facilities. I'm like, wow, that's a very specific business. How do you get business? Like, well, it's usually through word of mouth. And so those kinds of people that have unique value propositions that are hard to explain, they're perfect opportunities for storytelling because you can simplify, you can use analogies, you can use ways through video to help explain what you do and why it's important to the people that you help the most. Um, so, I have a client who's an international business development expert for life science companies. Wow, that's very specific. That's
Right.
very, very niche, but it's also paramount for him to be able to explain what does that mean? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What am I literally doing for your group? And that's where telling your origin story in a video format can be really powerful. Um, but the people like the referral partners that are great for me,
Right.
I would say business coaches are great because they often identify when people are not able to communicate their value proposition very well. And like, you need some help in that side. So business
Okay.
coaches are really helpful for me. Fractional CFOs, CPAs
Mhm.
are good. They're looking at, hey, your revenue is not where you want it to be. And I think it's a marketing issue. Jim may be able to help you sort through some of those questions. Um, and Yeah, I think web people who are developing websites, marketing funnels, things like that, those folks often can identify where a video story presentation could be really impactful. And those are great partners for me. Um, but yeah, I mean, just anyone, I think anyone who comes across a business owner that says, "Oh, I don't need more clients. I need better clients."
Mm.
I said, when people say that, that usually means that I have clients, but they only really understand half of my real value. They
Mm-hmm.
don't understand all I bring and all I do. So when you say, I need better clients, it means you're probably not doing a great job of explaining what working with Jennifer Wilner is like, because it's not SEO training. It is access to an expert that has seen things work and not work over a long period of time and can save you money and time and effort and get results. So it's not just a training program. It is access to an expert. And that's the value proposition.
Wow, I love that. I'm
Yeah.
glad we're recording
We'll
this.
write that down. Write that down.
Or write that down. Thank
Okay.
you, Jim. That's fantastic. Are there any like processes, that you might go through on a daily basis that ensure you don't get distracted? I mean, I like this thing. Oh my gosh, put it away. We have all these we've got apps, and then we've got desktop apps and all that stuff, and they can be so distracting. But what do you have? What do you do in your day? Is there like do you have like a magic trick that
Oh
helps you
yeah.
stay
Um,
focused?
well, I'd say a CRM is really important. So I use the high level platform and I do a lot of, this. I do most of my work on there. So that's good just to kind of get into a standard format of like, hey, when I meet someone, does the contact information go in there? Once it goes in there, do they get a regular communication from me explaining what's going on that might be useful to them? Can I send invoices? Those things all make your life easier. But the day to day is this, right?
Mm.
So I'm a digital guy, but I like working on a notepad. I use a system from Cal. Oh, now
A
I'm trying to. Yes. Well, that'll
big
do it too.
gigantic calendar on my desk.
Yes. Cal Newport is the name. Yes. Cal Newport has a system around how he tracks, and I created a video on this, Jen, of like how I track my day. And so I'll flip you the link. I'll
Oh
flip you the
yes,
link.
thank you.
But I went through like how I use this book and how I block time and why it works for me. But those are the two things I do. My notebook and
Awesome.
my CRM are probably the most important.
Hmm. Fantastic. And hmm, um, there was something else I was going to ask you. I feel like there's a book in you. I know you do your podcast, but do you have anything? I know you have an event. Oh, tell them about the event.
Oh, the workshop.
Yeah, we're gonna be hanging out in October.
Sorry, I literally just had to send a text message because my dog is going crazy. So I'm like, can you please take the dog outside?
I get it. I
Um,
get it.
so I was not texting while I'm on this call. Um, yeah, but the workshop I think is great because it's going to be a 1 day small group event at Rutgers University, and we're going to sit down with uh, founders and business owners, and we're going to really talk through how to map out what their brand story is and what chapters, what parts of that story are important for your prospective customers to hear.
Mm.
And then how do you do that yourself, right? Because look, I would love you to hire me to do a project, but the fact of the matter is that you can do this on your own. You need a
Mm.
little structure and you need to put a little thought behind it, but you can create this you can create these chapters of your origin story on your own. So we're going to learn how to do that. We're actually going to film the very first one for everyone attending there, and we're gonna have a couple special guests. We're gonna have lunch. We're gonna have a really productive day, and I think you're going to leave there with a very clear idea of like what your story is and what stories you need to start telling, and have an example of one of them in your pocket when you walk out the door.
Fantastic. And for anybody, if so they're interested, I'm gonna take the link. You'll send me the link and we'll have that in the details and everything. And hopefully I can get it to pop up on the screen, but just tell us what it is. The
Um,
registration,
the what
the
is the URL?
URL.
Oh my God. Okay. Um,
Okay. In the meantime, guys, go to businessconnectsnj.com/member directory and look at Jim Thompson, and the link will live in his profile on the Business Connects website until he
there
tells
you
me
go.
I'm sold out. Jen, take it down.
The easy way to get to it is if you just go to my website, it's at the top of my website. You'll see it there. If you go to brighttrail.biz,
Mm-hmm.
um, the top of that website, you'll see the workshop link and information there. So that's probably the easiest way because I don't remember the custom URL for
Yeah,
that.
that happens.
But my website, if you hit that, you'll get connected there one click.
Okay. Okay. I might actually have a little. Do I? Oh, it fell out. Okay. Okay, never mind. I thought I had it in my handy dandy Business Connects notebook. Okay, well, so we're gonna wrap up our last couple minutes. Before I let you go and enjoy the 3rd of July, would you share with everybody what your involvement with Business Connects has looked like and how has it helped you and
Yeah, for sure. Well, we started to talk about it a little bit earlier, in that, I joined Business Connects 2 years before I launched my agency. So it was a tremendous help for me to get my feet wet, start learning what SMBs are thinking, talking, working on, worried about, excited about. Um, and so that was my introduction. And then after I launched the company, it's been a tremendous resource to have a community of people that are supporting and rooting for you. That sounds kind of simple, but it's hard running your own business. It can be deflating at points, and you need that group to help pick you back up and say, "Hey, it's all right. I've been through there. I've struggled with that too. We got through it." Or here's some thoughts, or just the emotional support of, you know, I don't know how to fix that, but you're a smart guy and you can do it. So I think that community, the support you get is incredible. And if you're gonna run your own business, you need some positive support in the day-to-day operations of that business. Business Connects, I made great contacts. I've generated great business from it. You've been a tremendous leader and connector, the ultimate plug that is connecting us to all sorts of people, organizations, events, learnings that has been incredibly valuable for me.
thank you. I'm glad it's been enlightening and helpful. I love the idea that before you created the business that you joined us so that you could literally be in the room listening to the conversations. And that was genius. I know not too many people maybe would be thinking that way. Oh, I'm thinking about starting a business, but where do I go to be in the room? Where's the room? And I think that's a big part of Business Connects, is that the room is open. The room is open, and if you're in business and you need to find your tribe, you need to find your community of people who will listen to you, who will sit and have that conversation of, hey, I created a logo. Do you think it should look like this or like this? Or whatever that minutia is, should I move in another direction? To have those people. And oftentimes we're having these conversations before somebody even joins. They're just walking in off the street as a visitor. We had a great conversation with a cleaning company a few weeks ago. If you remember, if you were in the room for
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, I was there.
Um,
Sure.
they were
Yeah.
yeah, so I love all the light bulb moments. The light bulb moments just make me so happy. And to hear people, your story, and people's businesses growing and stuff like that. That's
Well, and you can tell that too, Jen, because you can see what lights you up, right? You can see why you do this. And it's not to build some massive organization. It's not to create a seven-figure income. It's to help people. And that's why those things light you up. And that's what it's about. So when people understand what kind of organization they're joining, it's led by someone who cares about the success that you have. And that's what success for you is,
right.
seeing your members have
What's in
success,
it
and
for
you see it
them?
every day. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you, Jim Thompson, for your time and sharing your story with us. This was really, really a pleasure. And friends, if you want more of this, you want to meet Jim Thompson in person, I encourage you to check out the website, businessconnectsnj.com, go to our events page, and come join us on a Friday morning. And as long as it's not a major holiday, we will be at 90 Woodbridge Center Drive on the 11th floor, sometimes Cafe 90. And if any of that information changes, you will find it on our website, and you can always reach out to me. In the meantime, Please click that bell up top on YouTube, subscribe to our channel so that we can bring you more of our members and you can learn about their events like Jim's that's coming up in October. Mr. Thompson, thank you again. And everybody have a wonderful day and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jen.
How you doing?